Many of you have been calf suppliers for us, utilizing our genetics, selling us feeder cattle for many years, some just a few years, some thinking about getting started, and some are just here to learn. Some are neighbors. We appreciate you all coming. Want to give you a hearty welcome. Back in December, I had the opportunity I got invited by National Cattlemen's Beef Association to be part of a beef quality audit that they do. They started in 1990 and do it once every 5 years. And the year leading up to it, they get some graduate students from Colorado State and Kansas State University, and they totally analyze the beef industry. I mean, they do ranch surveys, feedlot surveys. They look at the data coming out of packing plants. They analyze quality grade, yield grade, why carcasses get discounted or out cattle. They look at ejection sites, how many hours cattle spend on a truck, both as feeder cattle and fed cattle, and just really analyze the industry and then benchmark it back 5 years and 10 years and look at how we're making progress. It's about 90 people there. About half of those 90 are the packers and beyond. So packers, wholesalers, retailers, food service. There's some steak cutters there and some trim meat grinders, so all aspects. And as we heard concerns for them, what's their concerns for the industry? It's not quality anymore. When they started these audits back in 1990, they said we had quality issues. We've raised the bar on quality, and we're producing a consistent, high quality. We've met that. So their biggest concerns is food safety, consistency, traceability, and they want assurance that the product that they're buying has been raised right and taken care of. And they're all very aware of beef quality assurance, BQA, coming down through NCBA, and they would like the entire beef production supply chain to be BQA trained and certified. That way they can tell that story to consumers to build confidence in our product. So having been there, a couple of years ago, I think is when we started it, right, Robin, in our company. We made the decision to have all our employees, it's on a per person basis, you'll hear that later in the program, to become BQA certified. And we just thought it's help make us better and help give that assurance to our customers that are buying our fed cattle. So we got a great slate of speakers again tonight. We've always been fortunate to have some people willing to come out and talk to you all. We got Lisa Patterson and Nicole Wardner from North Dakota State University. Robin's going to talk for a couple of minutes, and then Dr. Kip Lukasowicz, our consulting vet at our Nebraska and South Dakota feed yards. I appreciate you all coming out to learn, and I appreciate these willing to teach. I have a fond appreciation for those that are apt to teach. They say what we learn and do for ourselves dies with us. What we teach remains. So thanks for being here. And with that, we'll start with Lisa.
On behalf of the National Beef Quality Assurance Program, we have a program in every state in the country. I would first of all like to thank the Wulf family for inviting us and for encouraging the producers that they work with to get BQA certified. I've been involved with beef quality assurance for just about 20 years, and one of my very first victims is here, Butch. Hi, Butch. I think he was in one of my very first classes. And so I wholeheartedly believe in beef quality assurance, and I'd also like to thank Nicole Wardner for coming and helping in our program, and the Wulf family for inviting her to speak. So how many of you have heard of the National Beef Quality Assurance Awards? Well, in your midst today, you have the 2017 National Beef Quality Assurance cow-calf producers, and that's the Wulf family. And so give them a nice round of applause. I think it's very well deserved. As part of our national program, when you're a national award winner, our program comes through and develops a video on you and your operation. And so this is the Wulf family's video, and I think it's really good, and it highlights the excellent things that they believe in for this operation and for their customers and for our beef industry. And so enjoy this short video.
The Wulf family has been raising and selling cattle for more than 5 decades. Although Wulf Cattle is well known for its limousine seed stock, the company operates in multiple sectors of the cattle industry.
We're a cow-calf operation that's based in 3 states. We headquarter out of Morse, Minnesota. We have 6 feed yards, 3 in South Dakota, 2 in Nebraska, and 1 in Minnesota. And then we have 3 ranches, 2 stocker ranches in South Dakota and a cow-calf ranch in Nebraska. Sandy Ridge Ranch is where we're at today.
The focus at Wulf Cattle has always been on raising the best quality genetics with animal welfare and consumer confidence at the center of their decision-making process. They believe animal care is directly connected to the attitude and knowledge of their employees, which is why Wulf Cattle requires all members of their staff to get their beef quality assurance certification.
So everybody here at Sandy Ridge Ranch is certified through the beef quality assurance program. Along with that, all the cattle haulers that we work with, all the ranchers that we work with, neighbors, we try to get them, on the same certification programs.
I think that a lot of consumers are unsure of how animals are being raised and entering into the food supply, and programs like BQA are super important to make sure that farmers do have standards, and we're all working together as a team to create really wholesome food for the American consumer and beyond.
We have over 80 employees in the beef segment of our company in Wulf Cattle, and we're proud that all of those employees have went through the BQA certification process. I've been trained, and even when I'm not here on site, I can be comfortable that things are getting done right.
Because of this strong commitment to animal care, Wulf Cattle has developed a program called Be Kind, which gives employees additional training on proper cattle handling methods.
When the new employees are hired, we make sure that on the first day they get their Be Kind training, and that goes over kind of any time a human and animal would interact, and make sure that the employee understands we have a 0 tolerance for any animal mistreatment, and they will be terminated if they were to mistreat an animal at any time.
We have a 0 tolerance on any animal mistreatment, and that ranges, within Wulf Cattle, and then also, everybody along the chain there. Ranchers we work with, cattle haulers we work with, packers we work with. We make sure that everybody is well aware of our initiatives that we have.
Safety is another priority. They created the Be Safe initiative to teach the proper procedures for dealing with cattle, which protects both employees and animals.
It's important to us because we want each employee to return to their families safe at night, every night. We require all of our employees to wear a safety vest and then to have safety glasses on hand at all times.
Not only do you see the safety vest worn on our employees throughout the company, we have all our employees wired up to look for danger points, and if they see something, communicate that. All of our team meetings are started with a safety discussion, and we want everyone to continue to think about being safe.
At Wulf Cattle, they have an open gate policy and encourage visitors to stop in at any time to learn more about the ranch.
That's part of one of our core values, keeping our sites tour ready. That helps both us staying safer around the cattle, working in a clean environment, and it helps the cattle as well. Keeps them healthy and helps in the well-being of the animal.
Wulf Cattle has a policy of, all are welcome. We want to show people around. We want to show people what we're doing. There's a lot of people, consumers, that includes kids, that do not necessarily understand where their food is produced. And we want to be part of that solution that shows them how that works.
The team at Wulf Cattle is proud of the accomplishments they've achieved and feel it's a direct result of consistent quality training, which is why the BQA guidelines will always be at the heart of everything they do.
I am a believer in the BQA program because it has helped our ranch in really take it to the next level and help us start understanding the importance of animal handling and of continuing our record keeping and continuing to take care of that animal.
Is great where we're at now, but I believe we're looking in the right direction. There's improvement in the right places, so I foresee a great future.
There's no one silver bullet that gets us there. It's just a lot of little details, in which a big part of that is BQA and BQA training and making sure things is ever done right in every way.
So again, let's give the Wulf family a nice round of applause on their award. I think it's well deserved. There are two things that I really appreciate out of that, and one of them is Jerry's comment that it's doing 100 little things better every day, and I think that's one of the ways that we make a lot of improvement. It's not just doing one thing better, but always having continuous improvement in your operation. And I love the Be Kind sign out here. It's one of my favorite things, and so Wulfs do a lot of things really right, and I appreciate that. So as we move into beef quality assurance certification tonight, excuse me, there are packets on the back table, and I think there's some people handing them out. Along with that are some certification forms, and those certification forms are a front to back piece. So if you would like to be BQA certified, and we encourage you all to be, this is a wonderful opportunity the Wulf family has given you all. Fill out the front side, and there's some basic information, name, address. Some of you have operations in more than one state. So if you, for example, my family ranches in South Dakota and in Colorado. So if you, for me, I would probably put South Dakota and Colorado, and then the counties in which you're there. And then if you've been BQA certified before, please put that you would like to be recertified. And if you know that BQA number, fill that out. And then I will do my very best to get you certified in your individual state. We have a few states that are, their programs aren't as active as, for example, the Minnesota, North Dakota states. And so I'll certify you in North Dakota. You'll be certified tonight. And if you're from another country, you're welcome to get BQA certified as well. At least in our program in North Dakota, we have people certified from, 11 or 12 different countries. So you're more than welcome to do that. So again, it's the front one page front to back. It's also in your packet here. On the back side is a checklist, and it just says that you agree to follow production standards. Sorry, I'm about to blow you all out of here. My voice carries entirely too well all the time, so I probably don't even need this mic. So with that, I would like to introduce Mrs. Nicole Wardner. Nicole is no stranger to the limousine business. She was raised in the limousine business here in Minnesota. She has been a longtime family friend of the Wulf family. She is our extension agent in Sheridan County, North Dakota, which who in this room knows where Sheridan County is? Like 3. Sheridan County is the second smallest county in North Dakota, but she is the biggest asset in Sheridan County. We are very, very lucky to have her on our team. She's a superstar, and so she's going to talk to you tonight about the handshake that we have in beef quality assurance with consumers. So please welcome Nicole.
Thanks, Lisa, and I'd like to thank Wulf Cattle for inviting me to come back to I tell my husband that I'm coming back to the motherland. So, like Lisa said, we have a handshake, and in BQA, When you agree to those standards and follow those rules and procedures, that's your handshake to the consumer. It's you telling them, listen, I followed everything and made sure that the product that I'm giving you is what I can hold up to the highest quality and the highest standards that I can have on my operation. And we want to remain consistent with the things that the consumers are wanting. Also, I want to just emphasize that as beef producers, not just limousine breeders, but beef producers, it's our story to tell about beef production and farming and the way that we live. And if no one else is going to stand up for us, we need to make sure that we're the ones out there telling our story so it's told the right way and the way we want it to be told. With that being said, I'm going to share a few things on consumer preferences. And all of this information is from the NCBA Consumer Beef Index. They released this information in 2016. So the blue lines that you see on this graph are the importance of consumers, what they feel is important to them. The red lines on the graph are how we as the beef industry are doing. And I think you can see in a few of these things that we're doing rather well. There is room for improvement, but we're doing really well. And over the last 10 to 15 years, we've only seen improvement as far as the beef industry is doing to meet the recommendations or the requirements or the standards that the consumer is asking of us. These are the top 5 things that consumers are looking at when it comes to what they're looking at when they're buying beef products. So the first thing would be it needs to be great tasting. If it doesn't taste great, they don't want it. So the importance is number 1, and we are meeting that, that demand from the consumer as best we can. There's not a whole lot of movement and wiggle room that we can get. We're at 91% fulfilling their demand. The second thing that they really want is it to be extremely safe to eat. So we want a safe product. Anybody remember the E. coli breakout in the late 90s, early 2000s? Right? So we've gotten past that, and they still have confidence in us that we're providing a safe product to them, no matter where it's coming from across the United States. They also want good value for the money. Beef is one of the highest proteins that they can buy, and they want to make sure that what they're purchasing has value to it. It's interesting to see that consumers actually would like to eat beef out of a restaurant versus their home. They view beef in a restaurant as a steak, and they view beef in their home as hamburger or ground beef. But as long as they're getting good value for the money, they're willing to spend anywhere from $20 to $50. And they want good results consistently. This is where BQA comes in, and we're able to, as ranchers and farmers, provide that product consistently through the BQA program. And that's what's important to us. And the last thing there's more things, but the number 5 thing in the top 5 is balance. So taste and nutrition. In the 80s, and I am old enough to remember what the 80s were, but if it tasted good, it wasn't nutritious. And if it was nutritious, it didn't taste good. We've gotten over that hurdle, and now in the teens of 2000, we've gotten to the point where if it tastes good, it also can be nutritious for us. And consumers think that beef is one of those high-quality products. So we're doing really good things. I also would like to mention that beef as a whole has had consumer demand continually go up, and Americans still like beef. They actually love it. And even when we had our record highs 5 years ago in prices and the price went through the roof at the grocery store, they were still buying it. And they were spending maybe the same amount of money that they were spending previously. They just tried to figure out what they could buy with that same amount of money in their budget. So their demand didn't go down any. I'd also like to point out that over the last 10 years, all the consumers that went through this NCBA survey said that they wanted to increase their fish intake. But over those 10 years, they haven't. They remained level with their beef intake, and they haven't increased their fish intake at all, which means that they really like the product that we're giving. And I'm going to hand it back over to Lisa, and she's going to continue with some of the BQA things.
So how many of you have been BQA certified at some point in time? That's good to see. So for a good chunk of you, this is going to be a review. We'll see how much Jonathan has remembered since he was a student of mine at NDSU a few years ago, just a few. So what is beef quality assurance? I think it's really important for you all to know that this is a producer-driven program. This isn't the government telling us that we're going to do this. This isn't the packers telling us that we're going to do this, although they are moving in that direction. But it's a producer-driven program that began clear back in the early 1980s as a way for our industry to address the misuse of antibiotics. And so I think it's really important to remember that. Today it is a program that involves all of us, from the cow-calf producer to the consumer. Because I think every one of us in this room not only produces beef for somebody who lives in Minneapolis or New York City, but we also produce beef for our own family. I'm married to a rancher in South Dakota. Some of my neighbors are here, and we feed our beef to our family. We have a 5-year-old daughter. And I think most of you do as well. And so really our goal at the end of the day is to consistently produce beef that is healthy, wholesome, free from defects, and meets the consumer's needs and definitions of quality. And Jerry talked about how that is changing. In 1997, when I graduated from Colorado State, Henry, what was the definition of quality? Prime choice, select, standard. Today, that definition of quality is, are animals being humanely raised? Are they being appropriately medicated? Have we followed the industry's guidelines? And so I think all those things are becoming more and more important. And I think it's important for us as producers to understand that. So as we move into something, I asked Robin if I could talk about the use of the appropriate, what happens if you give yourself an animal health product? We'll just put it that way. I'm a ranch wife, I'm a ranch daughter, and I don't talk very fancy most of the time. And this is, in my beef quality assurance training, the most important thing we talk about. And so in your packets, it's about halfway through, there's a sheet in here that says Cattle Product Safety Use Guide. This was developed by Dr. D. Griffin, who was at the University of Nebraska, and he's now, I think, affiliated with Texas Tech. He's on our National BQA Advisory Board, and our team updated it recently. I will tell you folks, if we don't have you around to raise cattle, the rest of the stuff we talk about tonight does not matter. Okay? Now everybody raise your hand. Do you understand that? If we don't have you all around to raise cattle, even you young folks up there, you're the most important part. If we do not have you around to raise cattle, the rest of everything that I talk about and Dr. Kip talks about, Nicole and Robin and Jerry and Casey talk about does not matter. So this is really important, and I'll quickly go through it. If you've been to a training in well, is that the good Lord telling me they want me to be quiet? Okay. The people in North Dakota will tell you that this always comes in a bright green package so you can find it. I left it in here in a white piece so you can make copies for your friends and neighbors, okay? So first of all, most of our vaccines are pretty safe, unless you happen to get an infection from dust, dirt, manure, all that kind of good stuff. So if you happen to give yourself, say, a modified live viral product, and you wash it off, clean it up pretty good, but that probably isn't going to kill you right quick. Now, a modified live bacterial product, our brucellosis vaccine, you might want to be a little bit more worried about. Now, most of us can't buy brucellosis, okay? The same, when we move into the medications, I think we need to think a little harder. How many of you here are allergic to an antibiotic of some kind? Okay, so probably 10, 15 hands raised. Have you ever thought about what you would do if you're administering that antibiotic to livestock and happen to inject yourself? Okay, my husband is allergic to penicillin. We have horses on our ranch, so therefore penicillin is like our best friend. Horses like to get cut, right, Biz? So I always tell him when he walks out of the door with a syringe in one hand and a bottle of penicillin in the other, honey, what are you going to do if you give yourself a shot of penicillin? The closest hospital is Mobridge, it's 80 miles. Will we be able to get you there quick enough? That is a question every one of you needs to ask yourselves if you are allergic to an antimicrobial. Have that discussion with your veterinarian. If they're telling you to give a product that you're allergic to, they might have another product that you can use, okay? That is very important for every one of you and your help and your family. And I think we need to take that more serious. In the medications, it talks about Micatil. Micatil is often used in the cow-calf business, as I think it was probably 20 years ago, but it's still pretty often used in the feed yards. If you give yourself Micatil, you need to call the Rocky Mountain Poison Control. That number is here. Take that bottle with you, get to the emergency room ASAP. Micatil doesn't kill everybody, but do you want to be the guy or the lady, the person, that it does? About 15 years ago, I had a producer who sat in the Bismarck Hospital for 3 weeks after giving himself an injection of Micatil. They were that concerned about him. Thankfully, he survived, but they were that concerned about him. Now, I want to talk about our reproductive products. How many in this room are synchronizing heifers or cows? How many are you using cedars, easy breed cedars in that project, or Lutalice? Okay, I'm not going to ask you how many of you are wearing gloves, because I know that answer from doing about 80 beef quality assurance meetings a year. If you are not wearing gloves, you should be, whether you are female or male. Y'all listening to me? If you are handling reproductive products, please wear gloves. Now, Dr. Kip, does it matter what kind of gloves? The guys at Zoetis tell me latex or nitrile, but please wear gloves. I hear enough reports every year from my own producers about the side effects of not wearing gloves, handling cedars, and I can tell you all the stories you want to hear afterwards, okay? So, the take-home message is, okay, that was like 1/8 of the crowd.